Welcome to The Art of Medicine, the program that explores the arts, business, and clinical aspects of the practice of medicine. I'm your host, Dr. Andrew Wilner. Today, I'm pleased to welcome Kate Atchley. Kate is the Executive Director of Graduate and Executive Education at the University of Tennessee Haslam College of Business. Our topic today is the unique MBA program the Haslam College of Business offers physicians, the Physician Executive MBA, or PEMBA. But first, I'd like to thank our sponsor, locumstory.com. Maybe you're curious about locums and how it might fit into your career story, but do you know all the different reasons physicians choose locums and how it works for them? At locumstory.com, you can hear firsthand stories as diverse as physicians themselves. There's not one solution for everyone. The variety of opportunities might surprise you. Locum Story is an unbiased educational resource. It has tools that let you explore trends in your specialty and compare different locums agencies. There's even a simple quiz to see if locums is right for you. Do your own research at locumstory.com. It's easy. And now to my guest. Welcome, Kate Atchley.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Kate, thanks for joining me. I've heard your name, not hundreds of times, but close, because I listened to John Jerica's podcast, and I know you've sponsored that for many years, about this PEMBA thing. I always had to, what's the PEMBA thing? But before we talk about that, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to be the director of this program.
So I will start with the fact that I live in Knoxville, Tennessee. I know your listeners are from all over. And my father moved us here when I was 10 years old to help start the veterinary college. He was a veterinary pathologist. And this all comes back around to what I do now. So I grew up going to campus and helping him on the weekends be a pathologist of large animals. And I won't go into the gruesome details of what that means. Um, so fast forward, I ended up staying in Knoxville for school, married someone who had a family business. So I did my PhD at the College of Business. My background is industrial and organizational psychology, which is the business psychology is a nice shorthand for it. And while I was getting my PhD, there was a program that started called PEMBA, Physician Executive MBA program, and I got involved with that as a graduate student. Fast forward another 8 years as I worked in, actually more like 12 years, as I worked in, I graduated, got a job at the university running our leadership development program, doing consulting. And throughout that entire time, I worked with the Physician Executive MBA program in my role at the university, doing leadership development training. Um, I spend a lot of time in hospitals and having conversations with doctors. And lo and behold, all that time I spent with my father in the room, the morgue, um, helping him do his job. It's all come back full circle because conversations about medical things don't bother me. The smells don't bother me. The noises don't bother me. And so I could go into all these clinical settings and I'm perfectly fine with it. I'm the only non-physician in my family. Everyone else, my siblings are physicians, and it's just the best group to work with. I love working with physicians.
And
They're
you're in a
smart.
role to help physicians. That's nice.
I am. And while I'm not delivering clinical care and I don't want to be delivering clinical care, um, it's my way to help US healthcare be better, to be the best it can be by helping physicians do what they want to do and create a career that they are happy with and engaged by. And they can use all these great skills and use their great minds to practice and influence healthcare in the States and internationally. Yeah, mostly in the States, but also internationally.
Wow, great story. Great story. I just want to clarify something for the listeners that's actually a little confusing for me is I'm on the faculty of the University of Tennessee here in
Yes.
Memphis, and you're on
Yes.
the faculty of the University of Tennessee in
In
Knoxville,
Knoxville.
in
Yes.
Knoxville. But
Yes.
actually, this program is my own program. It's not sponsored by the university. And I found Kate independently, and then discovered it's like, wait, that's also the University of Tennessee. So
Yes.
small world
Yes.
happening.
Yes.
And
Well, Tennessee's so long and narrow. And so we've got UT, we got University of Tennessee all over. There's Chattanooga, Nashville, everywhere. So, yes.
but it's nice to know that great things are happening at the University of Tennessee. That's
Yeah.
terrific.
Yeah. And I work in the Haslam College of Business. And that is an institution or a college within UT Knoxville that is growing leaps and bounds. We have the largest undergraduate population of any college there. We're building a second building because we've expanded so much. You're right. There are just a lot of great things going on at Haslam.
All right, so I'm going to jump right into it. Why would a physician, a clinician, want to get an MBA?
There are a lot of reasons that people call us up or ask their buddy that went through PEMBA, why do I want to do this? Um, Sometimes they're burned out and they think, oh, there's got to be a better way to do this. Maybe I want to leave clinical medicine and getting a business degree would be a way to do that. Sometimes they have a business idea and they want to, do a business plan or a marketing plan or and find venture capitalist money or investors to help them launch that. And then there's some people who they work in an organization and they want to be part of the C-suite. They want to be a CMO or they want to be the CEO, or even COO. We have physicians that become COOs. So there's different motivations for why people come. Underpinning all of that is that every single one of our students, year in and year out, we have about 50 physicians who come to us each year. They are in these discussions, whether it's a clinic, whether it is a big organization, whether it's in front of a potential investor, and they realize that they don't have all the information they need to be successful in what they want to do, whatever that is. And that there's some tools and some language and some processes that they weren't taught in medical school. And they want to come back and gain those skills in a very kind of disciplined way. Yeah.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the nuts and bolts. Let's suppose tomorrow I decide I want to apply to this program. What would I be getting into? What's the commitment?
Our program is 1 year. Our classes start in January and we graduate our program in December. So it's 12 months. And our doctors come to campus for 1 week, a business quarter. There's a week in January, a week in May, a week in August, and a week in December. So those are our in-person classes. We discovered many years ago, Haslam, this is even before we were Haslam, we were just the College of Business. We discovered 32 years ago that the best model for learning is this mixed model of online and in person for most people. And so people come to campus for 4 weeks a year for the in-person part. And then just about every Saturday morning, we have a 3-hour distance learning session. So virtual, talking like this, it's on Zoom. And you can have discussions and guest speakers and breakouts. And our faculty are very good at keeping those active. And in between all of those classes and those residency periods, people are working on projects. And one of the unique aspects, it's our secret sauce of our one of them. We have a lot of secret sauces, but one secret sauce is that the project work. We're not test based. Physicians know how to take tests. You all are pretty good at studying and taking tests, right? And taking a test is not going to help you learn business or get you to where you want to go. So our curriculum is project based. Instead of having you work on a random case study or do problem sets out of a book, you're doing projects that are associated with where you are. Is it your clinic? Well, let's look at a process that you have and figure out how to streamline it. Are you part of a large organization? Let's do your customer value interviewing with actual customers to figure out what their motives are, what their motivations are, and how you can do better. Everything is tied back to where you are and what you want to do. A business idea, guess what? You're going to be working on your business idea all year and coming up with a business plan from nuts to bolts, right? From the actual idea to the marketing plan to the pro forma, the financial part you have to have, all of that is what you're going to be taking what you're learning in class and applying it in real time. It helps you learn, and it helps you remember what you're learning.
So during this time, would you say that most of the physicians are continuing their practice?
Yes, they're working full time. It could be, depending on the specialty. Sometimes some specialties can arrange their schedule, 1 week on, 1 week off, and or get some folks to take calls on Saturday. Some people have had to reduce their clinical time for a little bit in order to make room for this. We designed this program 32 years ago using physicians as the focus group. And the one of the key aspects of what they said is, hey, we can do this for a year. We could step away from a little bit of clinical time for a year. Um, we can work on projects and put in an extra 15 to 20 hours a week on this work for 1 year. We don't want to do any longer than that, but we could do it. We can do it for a year. And so that's how we came up with the structure that we have.
Do you have an idea of what percentage of physicians, when it's done, they graduate, uh, step away from clinical medicine 100%?
Immediately, most of them don't step away. They go back to what they're doing and they change things up. They make it more efficient. They have more fun doing it. And then these opportunities start coming across their desk because people know what the reputation of our PEMBA graduates are. The PEMBA network is large, and so people will reach out and say, hey, you did PEMBA, I did PEMBA. Let's talk about some opportunities they have. Or they realize, you know what? I want to have a bigger impact at a higher level in my
Hmm.
organization, but this organization is not going to let me do it. So I'm going to have to go somewhere else and do it that way. And then they may move and step away from clinical work. It's very rare for someone to be 100% clinical and then move to 100% administrative. There's usually a gradual shift in those two
Hmm.
roles. But yeah, most of them do not immediately stop clinical work.
And so until now, the last number I heard was about 700 graduates. Does that sound right?
Yeah, we're at closer to 1,000 graduates.
So it's a pretty big network.
It is a pretty big network. And we encourage those interactions. We have a weekly newsletter that we send out, both about what our alums are doing, about opportunities for them, and also job postings that we receive from recruiters and other PEMBAs, other alums from around the country. And we put those in the newsletter as well. Yeah.
Can you give me two or three examples of guys like me? They did the PEMBA,
Uh,
and
yeah.
then what are they doing now?
Yeah, so I was looking at some of our alums. We have an individual who's a vice president and division medical officer at SCP Health, and so it's a larger organization. We have someone who is an entrepreneur who has started a data company related to medical issues, and he is still doing some locums work to pay the bills as that company gets up and going. But he's
Well,
made
that's
some.
one of our favorite topics here is
Yeah, that's
locum
yeah.
tenens. Yep.
Yeah. So we have let's see who else. We have a lot of people who move into CMO roles, either for a smaller organization or they start being the CMO of multiple hospitals in a larger organization. Um, we have some people that are in academic medical centers, and so they're becoming associate deans and deans of medical schools. Um, let's see. We have people that have left direct clinical care and they have moved into what I'll call auxiliary services. So the Medtronics, the Strykers, the J&Js, some of the pharmacy companies, and they're doing work there that is involving their clinical skills, but also their I mean, their business knowledge that they have now. I always, when people talk to me about should they do an MBA, I always tell them, first of all, there's lots of ways to get your MBA. I think we have the best way to get the MBA for physicians, but there's lots of ways to get that knowledge.
You mentioned CMO. What does that stand for?
Chief Medical Officer. My apologies for using an acronym.
And I think the CMO actually at my hospital, I think, is a physician who was in practice. He was, I think, chief of the trauma service for 20, 30 years and kind of graduated into the CMO role. I don't know if he took a year to do an MBA in the meantime or if he's just, by the seat of his pants. I'll have to
And
ask him. But I could see where that would be certainly could ease the transition because he doesn't practice now. Surgeons tend to retire relatively early just because it's a hands-on demanding role and become more administrative in this case anyway. So CMO, so that would seem a logical evolution for a physician who gets to know the hospital, knows the problems firsthand or challenges, right, that can
Mhm.
be fixed or things to be made more efficient. And there's usually no shortage of those in my experience. Uh, so, is there anybody who took the class, got their MBA and said, "Oh, this was a waste of time"? Do you get any negative feedback?
Sure, we get negative feedback. We use that to try to improve. I can't say that anybody thought it was a waste of time. I think there are some students who like some of the material more than other parts of the curriculum. Sometimes people come in very focused that they want to do finance and accounting. They want all the number stuff, all the number stuff.
Mm.
And they may not like the more, I'll call them soft skills, the softer skill stuff that we try to do. Yeah, so it's, that you can't, that's how it is. I think, I think overall, we have great feedback from our students where we don't take feedback personally. We try to fix things, we try to improve things. That's something that we teach our students. And so we want to emulate that and how we graciously accept feedback and make changes for the better and keep things fresh and cutting edge for our doctors. Um, I think something that shows just how well our alums appreciate the year and what they get out of the year. About 80% of each incoming class is from a physician referral, from one of our alum
Oh, well,
referral.
that says something for
That's
sure.
that's huge, and that's one of the highest level of alumni referrals in the industry, in the educational industry.
Now, most MBA programs are not designed specifically for doctors. You can go to Harvard Business School, but
Yep.
that's not doctors only. There might be a few physicians there, I guess. Are there other MBA programs in the country that are just for doctors?
There's a few. Auburn University has one. There is one at Keller School in Indiana. And those are our, I would say, our two competitors. It's friendly competition.
Hmm.
Our programs are set up differently, and so I think between those three, people can find the one that's the best fit for them logistically. So it works out well for everybody involved.
Do you see this in as an MBA program? I'm sure you do long range planning, right? You have a
Yeah.
5-year plan for the Haslam program for doctors. How do you see the program in the next 5? Is it growing, shrinking, staying the same? What's the demand?
So I think that people that are in operations at the hospital or or they're busting at the seams at the clinic will appreciate what I'm about to say. So I mentioned that we're getting a second building that should be ready in a few years. Until we have that building, we're maxed out on our class size. So we have
Hmm.
45 to 50 physicians a year, and that's what we have for the next few years because we don't have space to have more. I also think that's a really good cohort size because you can have team activities or group activities and move people around. You get to know all the students.
Hmm.
Faculty spend a lot of time with the students. We have a very high ratio of faculty time to students. Um, there's not a week that goes by that I don't hear from at least two or three of our alums and from current students. And so we want to keep that level of interaction. So I don't ever see this being, hey, let me have 900 physicians. Um, I consider myself brave. I don't know if I'm that brave to get in front of 900 physicians. I think 50 is a good number, but we could increase a little bit
With a
with
new building, there's the
with the new build.
potential. So there is
Yeah,
the demand for
there
sure.
is the demand. There's definitely the demand for sure.
Well, Kate, this has been very informative. Is there anything you'd like to add before we wrap up?
If anyone is interested in thinking about getting an MBA or have some questions about it, please, they can contact me. I can put you in touch with an alum of our program that will give you the pros and cons and tell them their story about what they did and what they're doing with it. Getting being a physician and adding this to your skill set gets you into a whole new level. It's not additive, it's exponential in what you can do with it.
Mm.
And as anybody can see from the state of healthcare and the economy, it's such a huge part of our economy. There are so many opportunities for physicians that have business knowledge to make an impact, however that can be. And you can end up creating the job that you want and the life that you want by taking all your smarts, your clinical smarts, and adding in some business smarts, and the door's open.
Well, that's great, and I'll put your contact
Okay.
information in the show notes, and that's very generous of you to have people contact you directly. Well, Kate Atchley, thanks for joining me on the Art of Medicine.
Thank you for having me. It was a very fun conversation.
Before we close, I'd like to give another thanks to our sponsor, locumstory.com, a resource where providers can get real, unbiased answers about locum tenens. I'm Dr. Andrew Wilner. See you next time. This program is hosted, edited, and produced by Andrew Wilner, MD, FACP, FAAN. Guests receive no financial compensation for their appearance on the Art of Medicine. Andrew Wilner, MD, is Associate Professor of Neurology at the University of Tennessee Health Science Center, Memphis, Tennessee. Views, thoughts, and opinions expressed on this program belong solely to Dr. Wilner and his guests and not necessarily to their employers, organizations, or other group or individual. While this program intends to be informative, it is meant for entertainment purposes only. The Art of Medicine does not offer professional financial, legal, or medical advice. Dr. Wilner and his guests assume no responsibility or liability for any damages, financial or otherwise, that arise in connection with consuming this program's content. Thanks for watching. For more episodes of The Art of Medicine, please subscribe. www.andrewwilner.com